Mass Effect 2 is the sequel to the highly acclaimed Xbox exclusive Mass Effect, with EA now bringing the epic sci-fi adventure to the PlayStation 3. What can gamers expect? Well, to say the least, not only a great game, but a revolution to the modern RPG. The very beginning of the game unfolds into chaos as Commander Shepard is desperately trying to save his crew from a collector ship attack. In his efforts to rescue them, Shepard sacrifices himself and can be seen falling through the emptiness of space off to die. However, we soon see that he's brought back from the grave by the shady pro-human organization known as Cerberus. After being given a new crew, a new ship, and a new mission, Shepard now embarks on a journey to save the universe from the wrath of the Collectors. Mass Effect 2 is a third-person RPG shooter with many different mechanics and options for the players to choose from. For starters, you can create your own custom lead character from scratch, or you can just play as the default Shepard. The core of Mass Effect is in its exploration, conversation, and gameplay. Being a sci-fi game, there's a huge variety of different galaxies and planets to explore, or even plunder for materials. As you continue on your mission, you'll come across many different alien races with which to converse and interact. Mass Effect is unique in that it has a conversation where you can ask people questions, persuade them, or even threaten them. Indeed, with lots of hilarity and intelligent humor thrown in. You can even recruit new people to join your crew as you progress through the game. When you aren't doing any of those things, you'll most likely be shooting people. At the beginning of the game, you'll choose your class, which greatly changes how you'll play. Aside from choosing guns, you can also use many different biotic or tech abilities. Vanguards boost your shields while making your enemies ineffective. Infiltrators can turn invisible and sneak up on enemies, while adepts can use Mass Effect fields to throw your foes around like ragdolls. Soldiers and sentinels act like the main attack force with their offensive capabilities. Along with these, you can use assault rifles, shotguns, pistols, sniper rifles, SMGs, grenade launchers, or even nuclear missiles. Even after all that, I still haven't talked about the upgrades. Yeah, this is it's more than solid in the gameplay area. Lots of customization. As far as the single player, it has a lot to offer. See, this is a title where the story is so good that if you miss out on the little things, then you aren't really experiencing all that the game has to offer. There's so much detail in all the aspects of Mass Effect 2 that is truly a marvel to behold. No matter what quest you take part in, from beginning to end, it is always interesting and rarely boring. You want to explore every little nook and cranny. Not only are you going to want to pay attention to every detail, you'll want to interact with it as well. The members of your ship, Normandy, are not just stale NPCs just walking around or standing there looking dumb. They're your crew. You can converse with them, you can check up on them to see how they're doing throughout the game's events, and it's even possible to create an emotional bond with them, along with romance options, and you will actually care. I could go into explaining the rest, but why should I when you can go enjoy that all for yourself? Replay value is important to a lot of gamers, and it's safe to say that Mass Effect 2 will take a lot of your time. A main quest can take anything from about 40 to 60 hours depending on your playstyle. The PS3 version contains all or most of the DLC packs, which are really good side options for the player. I can go ahead and say that Lair of the Shadow Broker is most definitely the best one. With all truth and honesty, Mass Effect 2 is a really pretty game no matter where you look or even listen. Graphically, all the vistas and locations you'll encounter are gorgeous. Flying your ship around to all the different planets and galaxies will treat your eyes to an enormous array of colors and sights. Frame rate will stay surprisingly smooth whether you're roaming Normandy or even fighting in the middle of a huge battle. Character models look sharp throughout along with many of the graphical effects. The music fits perfectly in pretty much every situation, but other than the main themes, there aren't really any particular scores that will wow most players. Fortunately, all the voice actors are really top-notch, and I seriously can't think of any bad voice jobs. Yeah, no doubt there are a few lines that could have been worded better, some are even cheesy, but those are pretty rare moments. As far as gameplay goes, the controls are very responsive, though I would have liked to see more detailed options than that were available. One thing that really annoys me about Mass Effect 2 though is that you practically have to max out the sensitivity settings for, well, everything because the camera is so slow, but it's more of a minor complaint than anything. During the Overlord DLC, there's some really bad textures on the ground where you traverse, driving around your vehicle. The texture wasn't bad, it was horrible. The textures were pretty much Minecraft quality, and in a game like Mass Effect 2, it's really noticeable and practically unacceptable. It's really an issue that needs to be fixed. But overall, in the end, Mass Effect 2 is a game that not only delivers unique experiences, but it does so with a game engine that is most definitely up to the task. far as trophies go, I can easily say that this is not a quick plat. The majority of the trophies are story related, with the rest mainly being gameplay requirements and DLC trophies. No One Left Behind is relatively simple as long as you finish all the loyalty missions and don't do any wrong decisions like I did. The real challenge is insanity, which is earned by beating the game on the hardest difficulty settings. It's impossible, but it's certainly challenging. It's only the dedicated will have the patience to earn this trophy. To put it simply, the platinum itself is more difficult than the sum of its parts. My closing thoughts on Mass Effect 2 is that it's a type of game you really don't see too often, but you really wish you did. Every character, every world, every situation you encounter feels real, it feels right. It is a journey that is absolutely worth venturing, and it's a great example of how video games are continually becoming a more legitimate medium for the storyteller. BioWare did an outstanding job on this title, and gamers near and far should experience this masterpiece. For gameplay, I have to say 9 out of 10. It's everything an RPG should be, and more. Single player, I give it a 10 out of 10. Though some people may not exactly like it as much as others, Mass Effect 2 simply has a fantastic campaign, and it really deserves to be played. Technical, 8 out of 10. A few areas really need touching up, but otherwise it's a pretty beautiful game. Overall, I have to give Mass Effect 2 a 9 out of 10. I definitely recommend buying the game, though you can't go wrong if you rent it. It's definitely one of the best RPGs out in the West, and it's just overall a fantastic game. I really recommend that anyone watching this review should get it.